One of my guys literally increased his average ticket by 90% in his first 3 months by doing this. It's amazing. So that is the biggest money move that you can make. And really, overall, we just try to make the business more profitable by being smarter with your pricing, your packaging, your scripting, your choreography, and using a system we call FRAP.
Give me the one or two things, no brainer, that every business owner should start adding today.
Great question. So for one,
Welcome to Wash and Win with Friends, the podcast for kingdom-minded entrepreneurs who want to start and scale their pressure washing business so that they can create jobs, make disciples, and serve their city. I'm your pilot, Joshua Brown, and each episode we will unpack real stories and systems with strategies to help you wash, win, and witness what God can do through you in your business. Let's get into it. Hey, David, welcome to the pod.
thank you, man. I'm super excited to be here.
Hey, go ahead and start off and let everybody know what problem you solve inside of business.
Yeah. So when I owned my own home service business, we had a maid service for almost 7 years. And there were really three main moves that we made after several years of struggling and grinding and being super frustrated. That we literally 4X'd our business in a 12-month period. And then we ended up 9Xing in 4 years before we sold it for multiple six figures. So the three moves that we made is just pricing correctly. A lot of people, I even had to talk to one of my clients about this the other day. In pressure washing, they just aren't pricing correctly. They're still undershooting their bids. And then packages, selling packages. When we started selling packages, our close rate went through the roof and our average ticket went way, way up. So we improve average ticket for people. Most of my clients do 30 to 90% improved average ticket within just a 2 or 3 month period. And then lastly is automation. Automation was a huge growth lever for us in our cleaning business. My background was actually digital marketing before I started a cleaning business. And I noticed it gave me a big edge on my competitors because of that. And so we were able to grow faster by harnessing automation. So we install a lot of automations. And really, overall, we just try to make the business more profitable by being smarter with your pricing, your packaging, your scripting, your choreography, and using a system we call FRAP to install more profit into your business.
So good. I'm going to jump into some of those questions because I know everyone that's got a business in the trades, they're going to know how to make more money from every job and how to, put a package together and then get automation in their business. But before we get into that, I want to play a game with you. Okay. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I love a good game.
All right. I'm going to give you $5,000. And with that 5K, you get to start any trades business from scratch. Which trades business are you starting? And then how would you end up making it cash flow positive?
Man, that is such a good question. Probably would go with pressure washing. The reason for that is the startup is pretty low. My employees wouldn't need to be certified or have any special licenses, plumbing and electrician. And so scaling to me would be a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Training would be easier. And what was the second part of that question? How would I scale fast or?
Yeah, yeah. How would you turn it as fast as you possible? What would your game plan be in making it cash flow positive quickly?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of boots on the ground marketing, old school. So door knocking and flyers and yard signs. I think a lot of times people do marketing like that in isolation. Like they'll do those three things, but they'll do them in isolation of each other. And what we've learned in business is the power is in when you compound your marketing efforts. And so when you're doing, you find, first of all, use the EDDM website to find your most lucrative neighborhoods and target those. And don't just do door knocking, don't just do flyers, don't just do yard signs, but do them all at the same time so you increase your visibility and you become impossible to ignore. That's something you always want to think about when you're marketing is you want to find ways to become impossible to ignore where people just notice you. And the way to do that is to really stack all those things on top of each other and then get in your local Facebook groups too and just start adding a ton of value. That's how I would do it. And I might honestly use ads as well, but you don't have to in the beginning.
Okay, I'm digging in a little bit. You mentioned some things that I know folks that are listening are going to want to know more about. You mentioned go to EDDM website so you can
Mm.
target the neighborhoods that you want. Walk me through or walk somebody through this as if they're entering it into their browser and going to do exactly what you're telling them to do.
Yeah, so good. You go to USPS.com. So go to the US Postal Service's website. They have one of their very main menus. So it's really easy to find on the website. It says EDDM tool. So that's every door direct mail. And I wouldn't send every door direct mail to start out with because it's really expensive. But the data you get on their website is insane. So you can literally, let's say you have one customer and you're like, I love this customer. They're the greatest customer ever. And they never complain about price and they never cancel on me. And I just want more people like them. So you put in their address and it's going to pull up their neighborhood. And what's cool is if you use your mouse and you scroll over the mail route and actually show you the mail route that that person's on, you'll see the average household income. You'll see the median household size, how many people live there, and the median household age, which is also really important. Those three demographics right there tell you so much about your customers. And I learned this because
Let
in
me
our
take a
business,
break from the
we would
podcast to let you
sometimes
know
get
that
sort of
I
trash
get
leads on
asked the
Google,
following
local
question all
services,
the
and it'd be like,
time.
man, what's going on? What's up
Joshua,
with their
you've
leads?
grown a
And started
multi-million
diving
dollar pressure
into the
washing business.
demographics
You've launched
of
other
our different
locations.
customers
If you
throughout
were
our service
me,
area, which we
what
had
would
like a
you do
25
to
mile
scale
radius
my
service
business?
area.
I
And
would
so I was
join
like,
a coaching
oh,
community.
well,
Join
this part of
somebody's
town over here,
because
their
you're
average
way
income's
more
like
likely to scale
$60,000.
rather than
This one over
fail
here is like
if you surround yourself
140.
with the right
That now it's
people.
making sense. So
Inside our
when you
community,
and then on
everything we
Google
do
Local
is
Services,
centered
for
around
example,
three
you can
things:
actually target
create
zip
jobs,
codes and you
make
can
disciples,
exclude
and
other
serve
zip
your
codes
city.
based
If
on
you are
income.
ready to
You just do that
grow,
own
I
research on
want you
your
to
own. But
head
oh
over
my
to
gosh, I actually learned stuff like this
pressurewashingpastor.com
a long
and
time ago
sign
from
up
my
for a
friend Josh
free
Latimer. He had
webinar
a course
today.
called Man, it was just it's like really old school, but boy, does it give you some amazing information to make it easier to succeed. That's why I like to call my business Winning Made Easy. I'm trying to make it easier to do the thing.
That was such great information. And let me just share with anybody that's listening or processing things you've never done before can seem almost impossible. But
Mhm.
if you'll just follow, you can literally go, do a replay, go back and follow everything that David just shared and play around with it on your browser.
Yeah.
Find your best customer. That's such great information.
Mhm.
Yeah. We've never done that. When I hear this, I'm like, okay, I've got work to do. I've got
Yeah. Dude, it makes such a big difference, especially with Google Local. If you really drill down on Google Local and do that, I actually have a whole masterclass on YouTube you can go watch about this. It's like an hour long. I show you how to optimize your Google My Business and your local service ads, and that's one of the main things actually that'll be a money maker for you.
Where can I go to find that video?
Just type in David Elam, look for my name, and you might type in David Elam Winning Made Easy, and it'll probably find my profile a little bit easier that way.
What great information. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I want you to think about all the different mistakes that you've made and that you've seen other business owners make as it relates to their scaling or their
Yeah.
systems or things that cost them a ton of money. What
Mhm.
are a couple of stories that you can chew on and share right now? Don't have to mention names. You can if you want to, but
Mhm.
you don't have, unless it's my name, and let other people know. Don't make these type of mistakes when it comes to spending money or scaling your business.
Yeah, man, that is such a good question, and it's a loaded one. And my brain goes in two different directions. What's going to be most valuable? Would you? Let me ask you this: would you say that your listeners are more guys starting out, or are they a little bit established? Maybe they're doing like 20, 30 grand a month. Kind of where we at?
I think right now where we are in our show is it's guys that are trying to break 100K. And so these are
Okay.
guys that are still trying to scale and get out of the truck.
Yep. Okay. So I truly believe the biggest move you can make in that early stage is to price right and to sell packages. And when I say sell packages, what I mean is you take what your customers want the most and you create a package out of that. And then you create a high ticket, we call it a decoy offer, a high ticket offer. Maybe one or two people a year buy it, but you pitch that offer first and it price anchors all of your prospects. Now, let's say your average ticket right now is $300. Well, what if you had a package that was like $9.99 and it was the works? You know what I mean? And you always pitch that first, and everybody's like, "Nah." And then you have your core package, which was what really everybody wants. And now you come down to that package, and that one's like $600. Then you create a basic package that's not very desirable. It's just super basic. Like it's only a house wash. I'm not going to do anything else, or it's only your concrete cleaning or something. And maybe that's $250 or something. So you make that kind of less desirable. So what happens is that having the high ticket offer and a low ticket offer basically creates a magnet towards your core offer. And now you getting higher prices for that core offer. One of my guys literally increased his average ticket by 90% in his first 3 months by doing this. It's amazing. So that is the biggest money move that you can make. And by not taking action on it, you're losing so much profit. And I love what one of my mentors says. He says, stop acting your age. So a lot of guys would get in this mindset of, well, I'm just a one man show. So I'm okay. I'm feeding the family and stuff. But it's like, well, do you want to grow this business? Or what happened if, God forbid, you broke your legs tomorrow? You need employees and you need to be able to pay them well. And to do that, you have to actually charge prices and operate like a business that is, 5 steps ahead of where you are right now. So you got to stop thinking about today. You got to think about tomorrow and how much money I'm going to need tomorrow to support this ecosystem I'm trying to build for my employees, for my family, for my customers. And we just get in that trap, right? The golden handcuffs where it's like, yeah, I'm making enough to pay the bills and it's awesome. And I get to take Fridays off now. But that's not security. You need to actually have a business. That is actually true security.
What I heard you say is start with a decoy offer means it's a big
Mhm.
bundle and charge really high. It's like, hey, this is a ridiculous price, but I'd be really happy if they said yes.
Yeah.
And then have a basic bottom of the line 249 for
Right.
2,000 feet of concrete or something. And then you move into the job that you really want to sell, and then you end up working
Yeah.
towards it. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. And actually created a really cool GPT for this. My wife and I are AI nerds and she's working on our certification for consulting and stuff, but created a GPT for this. It's amazing. It'll take any business and literally write the packages for you and the phone scripts and all the things and help you price it right. So if you go to winningmadeeasy.io and fill out your information and then send me a text, I can get that GPT to you for free.
Okay, and so the way they would get in touch with you, is that just go to your Facebook profile, or how would you like for
Yeah.
them to get in touch with you?
Yeah. Find me on Facebook. You can also go to winningmadeeasy.io. And I actually have a free ebook on there that walks through a lot of these things that we would do for helping a business. But so it's really valuable. But if you just, there'll be automated text. And then if you just text me and say, hey, I want the GPT you were talking about,
So
uh,
good.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask for it, because I wanna play with it. Alright, so let me ask you this. You said one of the number one mistakes that people make is they're not charging the right number. Can you help
Yeah.
somebody in any city, any state, they're trying to learn how to get their prices right? Would you walk us through that?
Okay. Like how to back into that number. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, how do I know that I'm whether or not I'm charging too much or too little, and how do I make sure I charge right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this might sound a little bit arrogant and a little bit that can't be true. But but just hear me out. I actually want you to start with how much do you actually want to make? That's really the most important thing. And don't think about your competition so much at the beginning. Think about what I want to make and then figure out ways to justify those rates by creating a better experience for your clients, maybe including a more robust checklist in your cleaning, in your service, right? So don't just go by what your competitors charge. Our cleaning business was literally the most expensive cleaning business that I knew of in our area. And what we did is we would shop around a couple times a year and see what other people are charging and also see how the client experience was. And oftentimes it was really terrible. And we were able to justify double our competitors' price sometimes because we had a better client experience, we had better follow-up. People would literally gasp at our prices on the phone sometimes, like, "Oh, I've never expected to pay that much for a house cleaning." But then they call us back a week later and they'd be like, "You know what? I shopped around, nobody answers their phone. I really like your checklist. I looked at your Google reviews. We became the number one rated maid service within 2 years because we really went deep on that system." So there's ways to get the prices that you want. And the guy that I mentioned that raises, he almost doubled his average ticket in 3 months. He was in a really rural area in North Carolina. And so it doesn't matter where you are. These principles are true. You just have to tap into them. So that's not a real, I guess, nuts and bolts answer, but I actually think that that's where you should start. And then once you decide, okay, this is how much I want to make, then you can back into, I want a 30% profit margin, and therefore I need to charge, I need to average XYZ per labor hour, let's say. And so that is important, but you need to start here.
You talk a lot about the importance of getting 5-star reviews and wowing customers so you can get repeat customers. What is the best advice you've ever seen or heard on ways to make your customers go, wow, and call you back year after year after year?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So a lot of it does boil down to customer experience and how you made this person feel. And I got some advice from one of my colleagues, I think, that we actually created a checklist of, hey, in our company, these are 20 company approved wow factors or wow items that you can do for your customers. So you want to find things that maybe your customer didn't anticipate and literally encourage your employees that, hey, pick anything on this
Hey,
checklist and
friends,
just
I'll
go the
bring you
extra
right
mile on
back to
that
the
one thing.
podcast in
Spend
a
five
second.
minutes, 10 minutes
If you've
extra,
been
do
thinking
that
about
thing and make it
starting
look
or scaling your
amazing.
pressure washing
Throw in the
business,
mailbox for
I
free,
want to
whatever.
invite
That's
you
really
to our
where you
free
get
Wash
that.
and
You just
Win
have to
with
add a little bit of
Friends
icing, right?
webinar.
To make the cake
In just
sweeter.
45
It doesn't
minutes,
take a
we'll
lot.
walk you through the Yeah, that's so exact good. steps So to create launch a checklist profitably, where your
Mm.
team build members systems can
Mhm.
go
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
wow their
Mhm.
customers
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
say, pick one. I
Mhm.
love that
Mhm.
idea.
Mhm.
your community.
Mhm.
Now,
You'll
I want to
see
get
how we're
into,
helping
one or two
kingdom-minded
more questions.
entrepreneurs
And this is
create
for
jobs,
business owners that are
make
trying to figure out a
disciples,
way,
and serve
how
the
do I
city
break
all
free from the
through
truck
pressure washing.
and
It's totally
start
free.
hiring my
The
first
link
team member?
inside
Do
of the
you have
notes,
any advice
or visit
on how to help business owners in the trades get off
pressurewashingpastor.com
of the truck
today.
or stop being a tech and let somebody else start doing the work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most important thing is your pricing, because if you don't have the margin as a solo, you won't be able to afford that next employee. And then you need to really work on your choreography, how to produce referrals, how to get more leads for cheaper, more free leads. But the most money you can make in any business is really when you're the one engineering the marketing in your company and the customer experience. And so you want to make sure you've got a little bit of work, but then once you do hire that person, then you got to really hustle. And maybe you're the guy passing out flyers and knocking on doors and kissing babies and shaking hands, like my friend Josh Laverne says. You got to be that guy so that you can, afford to pay your employee. Just make sure you got the margin, right? And then the other thing I would say is pick some core values, like choose things that you're going to live and die by in your company. And when you go to hire, make sure you don't violate those things. Every
Mm.
time I had a thorn in my side in my company, it was always because I violated one of my core values in a hiring decision. That is the worst thing you can do. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just if they don't fit in your company culture and with your core values, it's always a mistake. And so make sure you have really clear vision and core values for your company, how you want people to be treated, and never violate those. You'll be so much happier for it.
Yeah, when I casted vision for Josiah to be a part of our Brown's pressure washing, he was 17 years old. And I had no clue whether or not I was going to be able to get enough work. We ended up doing 225 in year one, but I literally said to
Awesome.
him, I said, "Hey, I think I got enough work where I can keep you busy. Would you be interested in working full time in pressure washing?" And you don't really know whether or not it's going to happen. You just cast the vision,
Yeah.
people come in, and then you do everything you can to keep them as busy as possible.
Mhm.
All right, final question.
So good.
You said the third thing that you would do is you would add a little bit of automation into your business. Give me the one or two things, no brainer, that every
Mhm.
business owner should start adding today.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, for one, you need to have some type of text or email responder when people fill out a web form, let's say. They need to hear from you right away to just have assurance that, okay, this is a real company and there's real people in the back end. You need to call them back as quickly as possible. And then we installed a simple 8 email automation. I gave a little discount, $30 coupon or something. Man, our business blew up because of that simple thing. And I would talk about our story, our company's story, and our 5-star reviews and what makes us different and blah, blah, blah. But it's just you staying in front of people. And you got to remember what your competition is not doing so many things. And if you go the extra mile in every little thing, you're going to outpace your competition every time. So just write some emails, like take a weekend and again, contact me. I've got some really cool GPTs that can help you with stuff like this, but it's simple stuff, right? But you just got to stay in front of people more often. If you can just have an email autoresponder, that's like the easiest thing in the world.
Thank you so much for your help, David. You've been so helpful to anybody looking to start and scale a kingdom minded business. And if somebody actually wanted to have a conversation with you and maybe even hire you as a coach, how can they find out more information?
Yeah, so really the best way is to go to winningmadeeasy.io and you'll be able to download my free ebook on the FRAP formula. FRAP is a system that we coach our students on, and it's profit producing system. So on the back end of that, you'll be able to schedule a call with me. I'll see it on my end, so I'll reach out to you as well. But I'd love to have a conversation. I love talking shop. If there's any way I can help, I would love to. If I won't be able to help, I'll let you know, but our students have been seeing some amazing results, and so it's so much fun seeing other people succeed. I know you can relate to this being in business, Josh. It's like once you've been in business for yourself, man, you're rooting for everybody else. It's out there doing the thing. It's like there's no competition. Like we are in this together, and I love helping other people succeed. It's so much fun.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for being a guest, and I look forward to having you on in the future. And until then, peace. Hey guys, thank you again for joining this episode of Wash and Win with Friends, hosted by Brown's Pressure Washing. If you've got a story that this community needs to hear, apply to be a guest on the podcast. Simply go to asyougo.network and you can apply. Until next time, keep washing, keep learning, and keep winning.